Hey everyone, today's video recap will be one of the most trending and popular South Korean neo-noir heartfelt mystery movie of 2022. It is Decision to Leave, Korean, Hanja. The film was created, co-composed and directed by Park Chang-wook. As regards the storyline, the film manages a police analyst, Jang Hae-jun's struggle with sleep deprivation, his complete fatigue at whatever point there is no extreme case, and afterward his developing heartfelt interest in one of the lead suspects in a homicide case. It stars Tang Wei and Park Hae-il. Choice to Leave was delivered dramatically on June 29, 2022 in South Korea. This was a brief introduction to film, and now let's begin to dive into the plot and enjoy watching. Likes and subscriptions are highly appreciated. The greatest drive in police analyst Jang Hae-jun's life is to tackle murder cases and put the culprits in jail, regardless of whether that implies basically spending his days alone. His better half Jong-un lives in an edge city as an aspect of her responsibilities at a thermal energy station, and she needs Hae-jun to remain with her as well, yet the criminal investigator likes to remain in the fundamental city simply because the crime percentage is higher there. An intriguing instance of death before long happens when a moderately aged man is found dead at the foot of a little slope that is famous as a climbing spot. Despite the fact that from the outset, the man appears to have fallen coincidentally from the bluff over, the way that he was a standard climber who might try and make YouTube recordings of his side interest makes specialists dubious. All things considered, the man might have all around been pushed from the bluff to his demise, and that is where Hae-jun and his accomplice Soo Won start their examination. The departed man's just living relative is his nearly more youthful spouse, Song Seo-rae, and there appears something odd about her from the second she comes to the police headquarters in the wake of being called. Seo-rae makes sense of, various times, truth be told, that she doesn't talk or comprehend Korean much as she is of Chinese beginning, yet her abilities with the nearby language appear to be preferable over she declares. Her significant other functioned as a migration official of sorts, and it helped Seo-rae settle down in the nation when she had come over from China. Progressively more urgent subtleties begin to arise when Seo-rae confesses to Hae-jun that her better half used to truly attack all her times they had a contention, and they had as of late had such a contention when she asked him not to go climbing. Scratch blemishes on the spouse's hands are likewise found to match her significant other's DNA, and the wife says that these were from her work to prevent him from hitting her. However, there actually is by all accounts a cover of secret about Seo-rae's record, and maybe this secret attracts Hae-jun nearer to her by and by. As Seo-rae is by all accounts the suspect to an ever-increasing extent, Hae-jun develops more appended to the lady. Hae-jun starts his examination, which before long transforms into just a method for him to chase after Seo-rae and figure out more about her. The lady keeps herself occupied by chipping in as a guardian for the older, going to various old patients' homes on various days of the week, and investing quality energy with them. This occupation of hers gives an underlying vindication to her, as she is kept in the surveillance camera film of the place of an old woman that she visits each Monday, both entering and leaving the spot after the finish of her shift. The climber had kicked the bucket eventually among this and presently, and Seo-rae must be precluded as a suspect. Be that as it may, Hae-jun doesn't abandon his quest for the lady, albeit this pursuit isn't exactly one in which he straightforwardly moves toward her. All things being equal, he watches her from the shadows, plainly, as he makes it his propensity to watch out for Seo-rae's apartment consistently. This before long forms into the surprising however incredibly erotic and obvious romantic tale that Decision to Leave is about, and Seo-rae, as well, succumbs to the investigator who associates her with being a killer. The two progressively contact each other as they go out around the city together, and Seo-rae even needs to help Hae-jun with his unexplainable sleeping disorder. The criminal investigator brings Seo-rae to his city condo one day and shows her a wall loaded with subtleties and photos from cases he has been not able to settle yet, and the lady trusts this to be the justification for why Hae-jun can't rest around evening time. She cautiously brings down every one of the photos of the instance of her better half's puzzling passing and consumes them. Albeit this might have been seen as a dubious demonstration, Hae-jun was conceivably past these sensibilities at that point, and he likewise earnestly accepts anything his sweetheart tells him. It is to be sure this unlawful, practically wicked nature of the connection, the idea at the rear of the brain that no police analyst ought to fall head over heels for his lead murder suspect, that makes this film even more extraordinary and advantageous. Their love is likewise strange due to the absence of any genuineness at all. They don't kiss until only a single time, a lot later on, but there is sexual pressure felt each time that the two offer the screen. It is practically similar to Hae-jun can't hold himself under control as Seo-rae attempts to make it lights out time for him, and their musical breathing supplements the quiet of the room. Be that as it may, such feelings will undoubtedly let one down, and Hae-jun's acknowledgement comes when he offers to visit one of the old instead of Seo-rae when she gets going with another owned up to an emergency clinic. Hae-jun unexpectedly visits the standard, worn-out lady who Seo-rae visits on Mondays and furthermore incidentally runs over a wellness application on the lady's telephone, which shows a reasonable record of an extraordinary number of 138 stages on a specific day. This detail stands out in contrast to everything else, both on the grounds that the elderly person can't stroll by any means and furthermore because of the way that she utilizes precisely the same cell phone as Seo-rae. A doubt fills in the analyst's psyche, and he investigates the whole matter, looking at every one of the conceivable outcomes and situations, and toward its finish, he is left very frustrated by the outcome. Seo-rae had without a doubt gotten out of the lady's home utilizing the secondary passage, which was not covered by any surveillance cameras, ventured to every part of the brief distance towards the slope by transport, and had then climbed the pinnacle as well, nearly around the very time that her significant other was doing as such. Subsequent to having arrived at the top from the opposite side than her better half, she had been the one to push the man down to his demise. His somewhat late endeavors to get a handle onto something had caused the scratches on Seo-rae's hands, just before his fall, and the explanation her hands were intense and solidified, which she had prior professed to be because of family and old consideration tasks, is that she had utilized ropes and links to climb the slope. Hae-jun before long goes up against Seo-rae pretty much this, yet it is all not outrage or dissatisfaction that he communicates. He is somewhat disheartened by the lady. He wishes that she had confided in the police some more and had brought in the police as opposed to killing her significant other, which she had done due to his possessive and harmful nature and on the grounds that he had likewise taken steps to extradite her back to China on the off chance that she didn't follow up on his desires. The spouse was a bad authority regardless, as he used to accept kickbacks from commoners to give them section into the nation, and this was uncovered in a coercion letter and self-destruction note tracked down in his room, the two of which had been fashioned by Seo-rae. The lady had likewise realized that her telephone would be seriously looked at by the police, and this was the explanation she had involved the elderly person's telephone for the demonstration before again getting back to her home and trading it. As of now, Hae-jun asks Seo-rae to obliterate this telephone since it contains all the proof to implicate her, and this denotes a demonstration of genuine love from his side. Seo-rae records the words on her own telephone as a scene of elevated feelings work out, however the two self-destruct after this, and Hae-jun takes an exchange from the city. 13 months pass and Hae-jun now lives in Lipo with his significant other, and he fills in as a police criminal investigator in this somewhat innocuous unassuming community. The man makes some extreme memories residing with the dull and exhausting absence of wrongdoings in the spot, as the main violations that happen here are negligible burglaries. At some point, while out at the nearby fish market with his better half, Hae-jun abruptly sees Seo-rae, alongside her new spouse, Ho-sin, and the two couples make acquaintances with one another. Jong-un rushes to see her significant other daydreaming while taking a gander at Seo-rae and properly thinks some passed between the two, while Ho-sin, a financial exchange examiner by calling, himself gives Jong-un his contact subtleties. There is to be sure something off with this new spouse of Seo-rae's, and soon enough, the man is tracked down dead in the pool of his own lavish house. Hae-jun is certain that it is most certainly his darling's demonstration this time as well, and on their absolute first gathering after the occurrence, he asks her for what valid reason she had killed her significant other this time. There are likewise on many times when Hae-jun asks her for what reason she wedded this man or why she moved to Lipo, yet no good response is at any point given. There is a feeling of impulsiveness as to the affection for these two characters, and a chance like Seo-rae moving to Lipo with her new spouse just to give her darling an extreme case to deal with is additionally not generally so crazy as it sounds. A scene shows Seo-rae cleaning the pool of her home, which was brimming with her better half's blood, just prior to calling the police to the scene. While this may be to eliminate proof or the like, this is likewise presumably on the grounds that Hae-jun had prior informed her concerning how he was shocked by crime locations with a great deal of blood due to the odor. It is practically similar to Seo-rae as setting up a less terrible crime location for her darling, who is going to show up. Right now, she likewise sees Ho-sin as being alive, yet whether she, at the end of the day, polishes him off or sits tight for him to bite the dust is hazy. It just so happens, Ho-sin was likewise a bad person who had taken cash from many individuals and was not in that frame of mind to reimburse them. One of these loan bosses, Sechul-sung, turned out to be the head of a group of hoodlums, and he had as of late compromised activity against the couple, as well, since the man's mom was experiencing a difficult disease, and he really wanted the cash to seek her treatment done. Meanwhile, Seo Ray is invested under crisis capture for some effort, and a polygraph test is finished on her as well, yet she is by all accounts let off when nothing implicating is tracked down in the test. When Chul Sung is gotten, he admits to the homicide and is put in jail. Yet Hae-jun will not surrender his quest for Seo Ray, and sound logs recorded on her smartwatch are checked for any new data. Around a similar time, Seo Ray requests that the criminal investigator meet her at a distant area, and here she presently proclaims her adoration for him, despite the fact that the specific words commonly used to do so are not utilized. She presently gives Hae-jun the old cell phone from the past case and asks him to reopen the examination, and the two offer an extraordinary kiss for the main time in the film. Their yearning to be together and join at long last is by all accounts satisfied, however this likewise maybe clears a path for an inescapable aftermath as well. A call put from Ho-sin's number to Jong-un's telephone has mistaken individuals for quite a while, and when Ho-sin's telephone is recuperated from the ocean, Seo Ray had tossed it there. It is seen that he had without a doubt settled on this decision. Instant messages currently uncover that he was compromising Seo Ray, saying that he would uncover her mysterious undertaking with police analyst Hae-jun to his better half, and this was the motivation behind why Ho-sin had called Jong-un, yet she had missed the call. As evidence of their undertaking, Ho-sin says he would introduce a voice clasp of when Hae-jun pronounced his adoration for Seo Ray. At this point, Jong-un additionally leaves Hae-jun, as she thinks that he could have killed the man, as she previously thought him to have had an illicit relationship with Seo Ray. Pieces at last begin to make sense, and the criminal investigator figures out that Seo Ray had for sure not killed her subsequent spouse, in some measure straightforwardly, however had rather killed the feeble mother of Chul Sung. She was certain this passing would make the criminal kill Ho-sin, and this followed, and the mysterious about their relationship basically kicked the bucket with Ho-sin. Hae-jun goes searching for Seo Ray and utilizes an application utilized by Chul Sung to follow her area and follow her. Seo Ray drives to the ocean side and passes on her vehicle to arrive at the put by walking, while Hae-jun goes searching for her with a particular inquiry to him. He addresses Seo Ray via telephone, and the lady affirms that her subsequent spouse planned to utilize their voice cut against them, a similar voice cut in which Hae-jun had claimed his adoration for her. The man confusedly finds out if he had at any point done as such, for he recollects no such trait of words, and neither have we been shown such a scene. Eventually, Hae-jun arrives at Seo Ray's vehicle and finds the voice keep in it, and his inquiries are at last responded to. The clasp that Seo Ray and Ho-sin had been discussing was the one wherein Hae-jun told Seo Ray to discard the telephone, which would implicate her for pushing her better half down from the bluff. It isn't important to say explicit expressions of articulation or make explicit vows to purport one's adoration, and Hae-jun had obviously shown his adoration for Seo Ray by being willing to keep all that he had tracked down about the case confidential and by aiding her departure the law. He was prepared to let her go, regardless of whether that implied hampering his own psychological harmony for over a year from that point forward. Decision to leave waits on the subject of the amount one is all set for adoration, and Hae-jun had demonstrated the outrageous degree of his affection to be equipped for failing to remember his obligations of calling an energy for his darling. In a discourse towards the finish of the film, Seo Ray concedes that now it was her chance to demonstrate her adoration and to show the degree to which she would go to safeguard Hae-jun. That's what she knows, whether she disappears from the scene out of nowhere and leaves the old telephone just for Hae-jun to find, then the police analyst would go under no investigation or mischief. This was potentially the justification for why she had gotten Ho-sin killed, despite the fact that she says that she had done so in light of the fact that the man had spent away all the cash he owed to Chul Sung, thus she needed to free the criminal's mom from her aggravation.